gonna go. I was gonna click on that too, but there's other things. I'm like, okay.
So before we kind of go into the segment of overrated villains, cooking eyes, and all that stuff, might as we do have to kind of give credit to, in my opinion, the greatest anime and greatest manga, because the recent final episode, we did a live stream that is on the YouTube channel. You can watch us live react to the final episode of Attack on Titan. The story is done. Attack on Titan's anime is officially done. The manga's been done for a while, and exactly what is happening in the anime community, or the anime community who watch the anime, is exactly what happened in the manga community. They're complaining about the exact same things in terms of like Aaron breaking down. They're complaining about that's like the biggest one when it comes to Aaron breaking down. Everybody's like, you shouldn't have done this, blah 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 blah, and a few other things in terms of the some of the other impact we can probably touch upon. But I will say this: Attack on Titan did everything that I think it should have done throughout the story, the journey of Aaron, the message and the purpose of Aaron and Mikasa's relationship, the growth of Armin becoming a hero, and the themes and the message of the cycle of hatred throughout Attack on Titan and what it means for the world. Even kind of talking about the value of life and how it's there to multiply, and the certain kind of quandaries in terms of how life will surpass certain things that can stop its multiplication from death and time and all that stuff. Attack on Titan touched upon a lot of these things, and with that said, I think Attack on Titan is the greatest anime and manga I've read in terms of story and watch a little bit harder because I still am not the biggest fan of CGI, but I think the story is still like top tier.
I
How
think
y'all
what
feeling about Attack on Titan
I think
finally
what a
ending?
lot of people forget, especially when it comes to Aaron himself, is the journey that he went through. Remember, the first couple seasons of Attack on Titan, people hated Aaron. He was whiny, they hated him. And for us to go through the point where you hated him so much, and then he had, as much as people who think, like, he had some of y'all advocating for straight up wholesale genocide. One of the greatest heel turns in anime history, you could say. And at the end, when people got mad, they got emotional. Y'all forget this still is still what, 18, 19 years old, 20? Like, he never got to live it. One thing about Aaron was freedom, right? He always wanted to go beyond the walls and see whatever it was. And then when he finally got to, he didn't get what he wanted, and he was trapped. He
Became a
never got to,
slave.
yeah, he never got to be with Mikasa. And at the end, he had to become the worst person, arguably in human history, in Attack on Titan's history, in order to move the world forward, because that's the only path that he saw. Mind you, maybe if Armin was in the same position, um, Erwin could have been. Maybe he could have thought of something different, but that's what he thought, and he hated himself for it. You didn't what? You don't remember when he cried to those kids in season 4, saying that he was apologizing for what he had to do? He clearly cared. So like, and then what? You got mad the one time he's allowed to be honest with himself before the end, and he tells Armin's like, "No, I don't want Mikasa to be happy. I want her to be happy with me. I want her to always think about me." Like every person out there could vibe with what Aaron said, how Aaron felt. But Aaron was the one who had to sacrifice everything so that the world could move forward. And just like Attack on Titan showed you, just because he helped the world move forward doesn't mean it's a happy one. It was a happy ending, but the world had to move forward.
I enjoyed the ending. I mean, I read the manga years ago, and honestly, bro, here's what really happened because I was around when that chapter first dropped. Here's what actually happened and why the Attack on Titan hated ending is what people didn't like. It's because, and I kid you guys not, like I'm being so serious. People thought Aaron became a bird. I actually saw YouTubers saying, "Why is Aaron?" You know the whole scene with the bird does
Yeah,
the
when it
start.
wraps
People,
a
people, it's just basic symbolism. It's not. He's not literally a bird, right? It's just showing
yeah.
that they're free now, right, for the time
Mhm.
being.
There's some
And
inclination because the bird
That
touches
he's
Armin.
like the essence of like he's
yeah,
the essence of Aaron.
the point is, it's not. He's not a literal bird, but the point is that people thought it at the time. I saw YouTubers literally saying, "This is what the foreshadow. Why is he a bird?" And that's where the hate started. That's where it
Oh
started.
my god.
That's why I see Aaron Bird memes now. It's a joke now, but the originally why people hate it was because of that. And I was like, "There's no." I was actually hearing YouTubers say this. I was like, "There is no way," because a lot of bad takes anime community come from YouTube and anime YouTube.
Oh
A lot of
yeah,
that takes from
big
Yeah, with the
YouTubers
bird thing, I
have.
think it's because like you also see a bird in like the first few pages, like staring at Aaron in the first book, like the first volume. And so they're like, oh, it's the same bird from like the beginning, like how everything's connected. So they're like, oh, so the bird that like was looking down at Aaron is Aaron type stuff. But I I like completely love the ending in the manga? No, but did I like appreciate it a lot more in the anime? I did, because I just feel like the way that the anime portrayed it was more fluid, if that makes sense. Because I feel like the last chapter, it was like Aaron died, and then a few pages later, it was just like, all right, now we're like in the future. This is what they're dealing with. Yada yada yada. Bird touches scarf. That's the end. And then I never got to read the extended ending, where like everything was ended up being a cycle. But no, to me, Attack on Titan is, well, at least in my opinion, probably the greatest of all time. I had Full Metal Alchemist up there as number one, and I feel like they, and a lot of, even though they're two different stories, they do hit a lot of the same plots. Like they still, we can also talk about genocide, politics, right and wrong, consequences. Every like they hit so many of the same points, but like Attack on Titan, it just hit harder, if that makes sense. Like it still got the same job done, but like Attack on Titan just hit a little bit harder to me.
It also
Yeah.
showed you how raw that world was, bro. That scene where they're carrying the baby, that all those people hit the cliff, and the mom passes the baby back, and the mom's falls over the cliff, and they just keep pushing the baby back because they don't want the baby to die. Or
Yeah,
even
I
in
saw a
part two,
TikTok about like everybody keeps on bringing the scene. Like they saw her initially when a happy couple, and then fast forward, everybody had to save her baby and all that stuff. Like it really says a lot. I will say this, Ty, because I'm not gonna lie to myself. I do think there is something to the bird stuff. Obviously, it's symbolism to freedom. Like we all know that
Yeah,
if you have a brain, it's symbolism to freedom. I do think there might be some argument that there is something to not that Aaron became a bird, but there is some like essence of Aaron with the bird, because the bird touched Armin, and then Armin went into the past and had the whole conversation with Aaron, and then obviously the scarf situation. But I don't even like, even if I'm going to grant you, because I was never 100% with it, but I do think there's something to that. I don't see how like that should be your end all be all. Like, okay,
I don't know, bro.
I don't get it. Like all the reasons that I've heard why people didn't like the ending, none of them made sense to me. I haven't heard a good reason why people didn't like the ending. The emotional Aaron stuff didn't make sense because Aaron's always been an emotional person. He just
Facts.
held it in for so long.
Literally, the whole
The
show.
I
the
mean,
stuff
he,
was
he
like,
had
oh
the
yeah,
ability to
everything.
see the past and the future, and he's like, "This is what I got to do. I don't got time to be emotional
You know
anymore."
something else?
Exactly.
I don't know if y'all seen those stories on TikTok, but y'all know when people, those people like a lot of like nurses, when they're taking care of like old people about to die, they say they start confessing everything. And
Everything.
so like Aaron is literally figuratively on his deathbed.
Mm.
He's about to die. He knows it,
That's
right?
exactly.
And he's been holding it in for a long time, so he's just expressing himself. I don't know why that's like a. I don't know why that like took
It's
people.
weird. People
But
think
my
that they're
question,
gonna be stone faced when they're
but,
like on their deathbed.
but
Like,
my whole question is like, for real though, what did people expect the outcome to be? Because
Absolutely.
in reality, let's just say for the sake of argument, they would have stopped him. Maybe they stopped him maybe before Falco got to fly in the air. Let's say they stopped him at that point.
Mm.
You still killed hella people, bro. All those people in Marley, you killed hella people. How many people died from the rumbling after that point? Let's say you destroyed 5% of the population. 5% of 7 billion is still millions of people. It's still millions of people.
well, he actually killed 80% of the population.
No. He was just using
What
that
I'm
as a
saying
number.
is, what I'm saying
okay.
is,
Gotcha.
what did people expect? Because let's say he didn't kill 80%. Let's say he killed 5%. That's still millions of deaths on your head. So, did people not want him to see any repercussions to the genocide? That's what I don't understand what they thought the outcome would be. Let's say he does come out of it alive. He would have been locked up forever. Nobody would have ever.
He's gonna die soon too.
Or they would have locked him up and waited for his time to.
Wait, hold on. I want to address two things Tank said real quick after J Rob's done.
I had a question for Ty
and
after
the
that.
other part is, did y'all think that after killing 80% of the population, he was just gonna go back, arming Mikasa. He was gonna go back to Paradise, and
It'll be
nothing
all
was
fine. No, they want
like.
everybone's gonna want to kill Aaron too. Like, Aaron's
And
still alive.
Paradise was gonna people in Paradise were gonna lay down their lives for Aaron. Because they were Jaegers at that point.
But yeah, no, country was definitely pro Aaron.
But you know, this
Mikasa
also goes
literally
back
said
to
that I can't. I have to take Aaron's head and I have to leave because they're not going to want me to bury him. They're going to destroy his head.
Yeah, but can I say one other thing too? Does nobody want to remember the part where Levi's talking to Erwin? You know, I'm on my scripture shit right now. Excuse my language, but he remembered he was talking about like Erwin was like a devil or was already a devil in hell. You know what I'm saying? Like his hell was the real world, bro. That reigns true for every single one of them soldiers. Mikasa got bodies, got casualties she probably shouldn't have. Armin got bodies. Armin was out there nuking boats that was coming to the island, bro. Them kids, them people still have families and all of that.
John, they had to kill their own.
John, they was killing their own comrades, bro. So it's like these people, even though we mess with their story and we know how they got to where they got to, they still had to make some, I don't want to say unforgivable decisions, but decisions that
they can't walk back from.
Yeah, you can't walk those. Like they legitimately, you have blood on your hands. Like even if the intention was for the right, they all have blood on their hands, all of them. So it's like, I don't know I don't know if there was a world where people thought that Aaron and them are gonna go back to normal. And then I also think, did people think that Aaron was not a symbolization of peace? I want people to know that too. But I know you want to go with that. I don't mean to take up too much of the time. Aaron Yeager represents a false sense of freedom.
Thank you.
He doesn't represent peace. He doesn't represent freedom like Luffy in One Piece. It is a false sense of freedom because he is a slave to everything around him, even though he is trying to be quote unquote free. He's a slave to his blood. He's a slave to the ambitions of his dad. He's a slave to his own Titan. God damn it. He's a slave to the Attack Titan.
He's a slave to his freedom. Like
he's a slave to his goddamn freedom. So when people saw the buildings coming up and people still bombing and the tree growing, he was never bringing world peace. He was never symbolizing world peace. And also, did anybody not remember the fact that Eren Yeager did say, I really did all of this because this was the best situation that saved y'all. Not saved the world, saved my comrades and my loved ones, not the world. It was never about saving the world.
Also, remember,
and I'm glad you brought that up, and I do want to say this real quick because I'm going to address these two statements from Tank Jones because this is another misinterpretation that people have. J-Rob hit it right on the money. It did have a payoff.
Yeah,
Aaron saved the Eldians.
Yeah.
He saved Mikasa. He saved Armin. They got to live full lives. They got to be old. They got to die. They had kids and everything. He saved the world. The world had peace. Another thing the reason why the building stuff and all that popped up, y'all got to realize that is years in the future. That is future.
I mean, hundreds of years in the future.
Hundreds of years.
Like centuries in the future.
The point of the ending is not to say that Aaron saved the world. The point of the ending is that this is humanity still. Yeah. Violence was going to happen again regardless. That's like human history. Like that's common. Like there's no Disney ending where it's all peace and everybody's no. Eventually, hundreds of years in the future, this is going to happen again. That is the point. That's what it's trying to tell you. And the whole thing. This is the crazy statement. Take. You said Berserk is going to have a happy ending.
No, it's not, sir.
Yes. What? I disagree with that. I think.
Hold on. Just define happy ending.
I'm about happy ending.
I'm about to tell you. So there was an interview by Miura said that he feels like it would be a disservice to his audience to give it a dark ending. I think that they're going to take out Griffith and Casca, and Gus are going to be happy together. I 100% think that. No question.
You think Griffith and Casca are die together?
No. I said Griffith's gonna die, and Guts and Casca will be happy together.
Oh, okay.
That is and that is a happy ending. It's gonna have a happy ending.
If Miura said that, then I won't.
Yeah,
they're gonna respect his wishes.
This is what I mean. But people say, mind you, this is what I'm gonna say to Tank and maybe y'all so used to these things working out. Like Do you notice even in Disney movies, they always go to just happily, they say, and they live happily. You get to the point where everything is sweet.
Yo, this
Like,
is
hold on,
we're
let me
in a
use
new
something.
age, random.
Yeah, Lanny, let me use something simple that everybody knows. Everybody knows Cinderella, right? Everybody knows Cinderella. She goes to the ball. The prince gets the damn slipper. She goes to the crib. It all just works out. We're just not the fact that we don't even acknowledge the fact that he could have just went to somebody else who also wore a size 8 glass slipper. But no, don't worry about that. They always go happily ever after. They don't tell you 5 years from now on a random Tuesday when the prince is having a tough day from ruling the kingdom and he's the king now and things are just going bad. They don't tell you about that.
Or the real story where she tortures her sisters after.
Yeah, like they don't tell you that. Like, mind you, Attack on Titan just shows you that. Like, we also got. Let me just say this way: you also got what all the other alternatives could have been in Mikasa's OVA, where they run away and the aliens get wiped out, and she tries all these different things to make sure that Eren lives, but he
it's
never
impossible for
does.
Eren to live regardless.
Before I get to my question for Ty, like we also forget like Chainsaw Man Part 1 did not end well. Part 2 is probably not going to end well. JJK, I think the author said that he's either going to make one person live through all this, or like 2 or 3 people live through all this.
At the same time, I do want to also say this as well, that yes, Full Metal Alchemist has a great. I do like great ending. I do like happy endings. Full Metal Alchemist, I do like its ending. But in my opinion, the greatest ending of all time is a sad ending, and that's Code Geass. Lelouch dies. He doesn't get his happy ending. But at the end of the day, he succeeded. World peace happened. That's the same thing that happened here.
I'll say it again. Lelouch walked so Eren could run.
Exactly. So I get what you mean, but sometimes not all stories are going to get a happy ending. And if you've seen Code Geass and you said that the ending for Code Geass and what happened to Lelouch is not a good ending, then I can't help you.
And Random, you said you had the exact quote?
Yeah, so the exact quote that the JJK author said, either Yuji lives and everybody else dies, or Yuji dies and Megumi and Abzi. We all think Nobura's coming back at some point, even though
at this point I have no idea.
How long has it been?
I can't wait to see Eye Patch come back out.
Yeah, how long have we seen? It's been what, a couple years at this point?
It's been like 2 years.
So it's either Yuji dies and everybody else lives, technically, so to speak, or everybody dies and Yuji's the only one left. That's what
that would
he
make
said
more sense to me. Curse to live.
Yeah, most series have happy endings. To be fair, it's there. I mean,
that's what makes
people like
Attack on Titan stand out.
Was Demon Slayer really a happy ending?
Hell no. Hell no.
Is it really a happy ending?
Tanjiro still dies early, right?
The only person who got the happy ending
what's her name?
Was like Tanjiro for real, like bro.
No, he dies
maybe
early.
Nezuko.
He activated his curse mark.
Yeah,
he
but
dies early.
Kids. I'm saying like he still had kids. You know, everybody had kids. Everybody had families.
Then you can say, what is it?
But what I'm saying is, it's not happy for everybody else though.
I have to say, like the last arc, bodies on bodies on bodies.
Yeah, like come on, there's a lot of dead bodies. They don't happy for everybody, bro. Everybody didn't get a happy.
Everybody's freaking out.
You know what it looked like?
Yeah.
You ever see like Power Rangers, like when like they activate the Megazords and like they crash into the buildings and cities? Like, hey, we saved everybody, but we forget that they knocked into like fucking 3 skyscrapers. Like probably like hundreds of people died. Like that was the end of Demon Slayer. Like, yo, yeah, they saved the day, no more Musin, but like 90% of the crew's gone. Like it was like.
Mind you, they showed was it Batman vs Superman showed it. Remember, Man of Steel, they're fighting through Metropolis, right? And then in the beginning of Batman vs Superman, Bruce Wayne is in Metropolis on the ground, and he sees it happen. And you get that ground view, like, oh my god, just because Superman technically killed Zod and saved the planet doesn't mean that shit's sweet. Like, there's still all these people who are dead, and Bruce Wayne is holding this literal child in what literally looks like the apocalypse at a certain point in that opening scene. Because what do you do as a human when you're watching 2 superpowered gods trying to kill each other? Like it's just Attack on Titan will forever stand on. I think this might be something that as time goes, people will appreciate the series more, because it was never going to be happy. Not the way we want it to be. It was never going to.
ECMA said it was going to be a sad ending too. So like,
well, one of the biggest things about Attack on Titan, which leads to my question for Ty, is like the foreshadowing. And like since Ty's an artist, I wanted like just to ask you like what like, because we know that like the level of foreshadowing in Attack on Titan is like, it's something you probably can't teach, but like, can you like say like what's like what like something in particular that's special about his foreshadowing compared to like other manga that we might see?
About Attack on Titan's foreshadowing, I think Attack on Titan's foreshadowing. I think he has a lot of like he has a lot of Attack on Titan's foreshadowing is so good is because it completely changes your perception of certain scenes. Like certain scenes are like I think some foreshadowing you can kind of have an idea like, oh, okay. Like simple foreshadowing is like, for example, when Radix is watching when he kidnaps Gohan and he senses he puts a scouter on because he senses energy's coming, but then it's like 700. Oh, he notices Gohan's. Oh, well, maybe my scouter's broken, right? That's foreshadowing because now we know later on that Gohan has a high power level and he attacks Radix. That's very simple, but I think that gives us a hint that he's probably powerful. It gives us, but maybe I think with Attack on Titans, it only gives you a lot of his maybes are so subtle. Like when Aaron hit his head and he's sitting in the room, his head's steaming.
And you
I
don't
was
even
like,
notice it, bro.
I was like, whoa, hold on a second. Like
Bro,
you
my
don't
head
even
used to steam from my football helmet. I thought nothing of
yeah.
it.
Like, I thought Aaron was just and you know a lot of times
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
you know a lot of times when anime characters are mad, their head is steaming. That's why I thought it was. I thought he was steaming because he was mad. He
yeah.
didn't get right, but no, he's healing. His brain, his head's healing. I'm like, so I think his scenes are they're the most subtle that I've probably ever seen.
It's like when
That's a fact.
Fubo, it's like when Bertolt and he's there on that pillar with Ymir, the jaw titan at the time,
And the food.
Yeah,
and they're like,
he's
yeah,
about to
he's
bite his
like,
hand.
I ain't about to bite his hand. I didn't notice that until it was pointed out to me, and I'm like, yo, he's
or
literally about
another
to bite
one.
his hand.
Another one I want to point out is when they were in that one castle building and they brought out those bottles. At first, when I watched, I was like, okay, so then you realize, oh, those are what those bottle means. Like he can read that, and Emir knows he can read that. I'm like, that's how they found out. I did not know that at that time. I was like,
bro, but you know the steam tie was shown in like when he was doing the training. You know when he was doing the training.
That's what I'm talking
yeah,
about.
yeah.
Yeah, like
Crazy.
I think Attack on Titan foreshadowing is just so subtle.
Yo, there was one scene where he's in the cloak, bro. They're kids. I gotta remember what episode. He's literally standing in the mix with the cloak on.
Oh yeah, that's episode like I know he's bro. It's so crazy.
It's actually it really the reread value of Attack on Titan is like one of the greatest rereads we'll ever see, bro.
Yeah, J-Rob mentioned it last week. I remember when I read the ending and everything kind of pieced together. I can remember how quickly I ran to reread the first few chapters again. Like the fact, like what always blew my mind is like Aaron was there the whole time, making sure things were working.
I have a question. Have y'all read
Mine need to do Attack on Titan reread.
Have y'all read the manga?
Yeah, I got the whole thing.
In the manga,
me too. Read the whole thing.
Grisha is
come on, Ty, how dare you ask that?
In the anime, when he says Aaron, I'll show you in the basement. In the manga, we see his face and we see him looking sideways. He's not when he says that he's not looking at Aaron and Mikasa and his wife. He's looking sideways because Aaron's standing right there. I was like,
bro,
like, what?
It's crazy. It's so crazy how you make this series and then everybody reading it for the first time, they have no idea that this is happening right now.
No idea.
It's subtlety
masterful.
is ridiculous.
Y'all know a crazy one. One of my favorites is that after the first time, after Bertolt kicked the wall down for the second time and they're trying to regroup and all that stuff, we see Annie when she's helping pick up the bodies. We see her apologizing. She's like, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Now we know later on it's because she set up Marco, remember, because she took his ODM gear, but she just standing over dead bodies saying she's sorry. We don't see who she's talking to. We know she's extremely apologetic to a dead body. We have no idea what it's about. Now we would think that maybe she's sad she couldn't save somebody. We found out she's guilty as hell because they set up Marco.
Guilty as hell, bro.
Because they took Marco because Reiner convinced her to take Marco's gear. I was like, man, that was crazy.
He Titan food.
Also, with the bottles thing, when you also read it, you realize that Zeke is the one who brought those bottles there, and he used those same bottles to turn those people into Titans. And then later on, he turns them into Titans using his scream. Like
Zeke is a better villain than Aizen too.
And Reiner.
All right, well, let's get into it. We may need to do Attack on Titan reread because I think it will be amazing on the channel to do Attack on Titan.
I don't really consider Reiner a villain. I consider him just more of like a dragon.
I mean, he's anti.
Deuterogenous. Deuterogenous.
Deuteronomy.
God,
Deuteronomy.
It'll never happen.
J-Rob. Deuterogenous.
No, it's cooked. It's
Deuterogenous.
random. It's always
Jesus.
It is cooked. It's
Oh,
always
it's
gonna
cooked.
be cooked. Deuterogenous, bro.
There you go.
Look
You
at
just did it.
I'll
You
say,
just
Dude
did
said
it.
Deuteronomy. We talking about the Bible?
I definitely
Deuteronomy.
pronounced it Deuteragonus.
I'm gonna stay saying
Deuterogenous.
Deuteragonus. I don't care. It is what it
Deuteragonus.
is.